At 84 years old, Dionne Warwick dropped a confession that made people stop in their tracks. He was the only one who could do that to me. And suddenly, her entire life story felt even more legendary. Born Marie Dionne Warwick on December 12, 1940, in East Orange, New Jersey, she came into a world already vibrating with music. Her mother, Lee Drinker Warwick, ran the Drinker Singers, a powerhouse gospel group that shaped the sound of their community. Her father, Mantle Warwick, worked hard to support the family, but he also filled their home with a deep love for the arts. Dionne grew up surrounded by soulful voices, heartfelt worship, in the classic traditions of African-American gospel, the kind of environment that shapes greatness without even trying. In the Warwick household, music wasn't a hobby, and it was the atmosphere. Rehearsals filled the living room, church services filled the weekends, and those early sounds became the soundtrack of Diane's earliest memories. Diane, her sister Dee Dee, and her Aunt Cissy Houston even formed their own gospel group called the Gospelaires. And that's where Dionne first sharpened her stage presence and polished that crystal-clear voice people would later recognize from a mile away. Her family connections were more than bloodlines. They were a musical dynasty. Dionne came from a family loaded with world-class talent, including her cousin Whitney Houston, who later rose to become one of the most celebrated singers ever. Another cousin, Dee Dee Warwick, also built her own successful music career, showing just how deep this family's talent ran. Growing up in that kind of environment, ambition wasn't just encouraged, it was normal. Dionne realized early that her voice wasn't meant to stay inside church walls. She had a calling that reached way beyond the choir loft. Her journey into the spotlight started quietly, working as a session singer while attending Hart College of Music in Connecticut. With the Gospelaires, she recorded background vocals for major artists, and it didn't take long before serious professionals noticed her stunning tone and the calm control in her delivery. And then, in one recording session, fate stepped in with perfect timing. In the early 1960s, Dionne crossed paths with a young composer named Burt Bacharach and a brilliant lyricist named Hal David. And the moment those three connected, music history shifted. Bacharach was instantly struck by Dionne's sharp precision and her talent for expressing emotion without overdoing it. With Hal David writing lyrics full of honesty and heart, the trio created a sound that fit Dionne like it was tailored just for her. Her first hit, Don't Make Me Over in 1962, opened the door to a new era. And once she stepped through, she didn't slow down for anybody. The 1960s became her victory lap, filled with classics like Walk On By, Anyone Who Had a Heart, Message to Michael, I Say a Little Prayer, and Do You Know the Way to San Jose? Songs like these weren't just hits. They became cultural markers, the kind of tracks people remember where they were the first time they heard them. These records blended elegance with real emotion, making Dionne Warwick one of the standout voices of her generation. Her career wasn't just about success. It was about creating timeless songs that stayed alive long after the charts moved on. Even now, her music still feels fresh, and her legacy still inspires new artists who grew up studying the blueprint she helped create. With over 100 million records sold around the world and more than 50 singles hitting the Billboard charts, Dionne Warwick built a legacy that only a select few could even dream of touching. Her smooth mezzo-soprano voice had this rare emotional punch that made every song feel personal, yet big enough for everyone to connect with. As the 1970s rolled in, Dionne didn't stay still. She switched up her sound and kept pace with the shifting music scene. She signed with Warner Brothers Records, then later moved to Arista Records, where Clive Davis helped spark a powerful comeback. Hits like I'll Never Love This Way Again and Deja Vu landed her fresh Grammy wins and proved she was still a serious competitor in a tough industry. Then came one of the most iconic moments of her career in 1985, when she teamed up with Elton John, Gladys Knight, and Stevie Wonder to record That's What Friends Are For. What started as a simple collaboration turned into a worldwide anthem after they decided the song would help raise money for AIDS research. The track didn't just top charts, it became a symbol of compassion and showed how Dionne could use her voice to push real change. This moment locked her in as not only a legendary singer, but also a respected humanitarian, stepping into a spotlight that went way beyond entertainment. Her collaboration list reads like a roll call of music royalty: Isaac Hayes, Smokey Robinson, Luther Vandross, Jeffrey Osborne, and more. Dionne's voice blended with other greats effortlessly, yet she always kept her own flavor strong and recognizable. She became a bridge in the music world, linking different styles, generations, and audiences with ease. Beyond all the awards and hit records, Dionne Warwick always aimed to use her fame to lift others, not just herself. Her heart for humanitarian work reached far and wide, and she used her influence to shine a light on issues that needed attention. In 2002, she was appointed a United Nations Global Ambassador for the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, a role that took her across the world raising awareness about hunger and food security. She brought hope to communities facing hardship and showed that celebrity status could be more than flashing lights. It could become action. Her efforts didn't stop there. She spoke out on HIV/AIDS, stigma, racial inequality, and poverty, standing up for people who needed support. The success of That's What Friends Are For was a powerful example of how she could bring communities together through music, but she didn't let the mission end when the song left the radio waves. Dionne proved over and over that she wasn't just a voice. She was someone with a strong sense of moral purpose. Even as the 1990s and 2000s brought new sounds and trends, Dionne stayed respected and relevant with ease. She kept touring across the globe, performing for sold-out audiences who still felt her music deeply. She released new projects that reached younger listeners, introducing fresh generations to her signature phrasing and smooth emotional delivery. And back in 1966, right as her fame was climbing fast and she was becoming one of the most talked-about voices in American music, Dionne Warwick married actor and drummer William Elliott. Their marriage drew a lot of attention, not just because she was rising to superstar status with songs written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, but because people were watching every move she made during this major moment in her career. William Elliott wasn't just the husband of a rising star, he was a skilled musician and performer himself, known for his smooth jazz drumming and occasional acting gigs. Their shared passion for music and life on stage pulled them together fast, creating a connection that felt natural from the beginning. But like many young couples trying to juggle love, ambition, and fame, the pressure hit hard and early. By May 1967, barely a year after saying "I do," the couple divorced, closing out a short but intense chapter in Dionne Warwick's personal life. But their story didn't fade away that easily because the spark between them refused to disappear. Even with the tension that pushed them apart, something between them stayed strong enough to pull them back together. After taking time to reconnect and reflect, they chose to take another shot at their relationship, hoping this second try would bring the peace they couldn't find the first time. In a bold and romantic move, Warwick and Elliott remarried in August 1967, choosing Milan, Italy, a city known for luxury, art, and high fashion, as the stage for their fresh start. The elegance of Milan became a perfect symbol for their renewed commitment, filled with forgiveness, hope, and the dream of a more stable path ahead. Life soon shifted again when Dionne became a mother for the first time. On January 18, 1969, while living in East Orange, New Jersey, she welcomed her son, David Elliott, a moment that brought pure joy into her world. Even with her busy schedule as an international star, she embraced motherhood with heart and dedication, doing her best to balance touring, recording, and caring for her baby boy. East Orange became her safe space, the place where she tried to keep her superstar world and her home life grounded. David later followed the family tradition, stepping into music as a drummer and vocalist, showing just how deeply the artistic legacy flowed in their household. Then in 1973, their family expanded again when Dionne gave birth to her second son, Damon Elliott. With Damon's arrival, the Warwick-Elliott home became even more alive with music, culture, and the behind-the-scenes challenges of show business. Like his older brother, Damon didn't just inherit talent, he ran with it, becoming a Grammy-winning producer and songwriter who worked with huge artists across modern music. Both sons grew into their own careers, carrying the family's creative torch and proving that the musical energy in their home was more than just influence. It was part of who they were. But even with 2 children, attempts at healing, and years of trying to build a strong foundation, the marriage couldn't hold together forever. The non-stop demands of the entertainment industry, mixed with personal differences, slowly pushed Warwick and Elliott apart again. On May 30th, 1975, after nearly a decade of trying to make their relationship work, the couple separated for the final time, bringing an emotional chapter of love, struggle, and second chances to a close. Dionne Warwick had always tried to balance her superstar career with her personal life, but eventually she had to face the heartbreaking truth that her marriage simply couldn't survive any longer. By December 1975, in Los Angeles, California, she was officially granted a divorce, closing the door on a relationship filled with both deep passion and heavy turbulence. Even though their marriage didn't last forever, the time Warwick and Elliot spent together left a permanent mark on her journey. Their sons, David and Damon, grew into her greatest pride, carrying forward the musical and creative fire their parents shared. Both boys became living reminders of the love, talent, and culture that once held the family together. Every part of her story, marriage, second chances, motherhood, heartbreak, added layers to Warwick's strength, giving her a resilience that stayed with her for decades. And at 84 years old, the woman known for some of the most iconic songs in music history caught the world off guard when she opened up about one of the biggest entertainers ever, Frank Sinatra. With a lifetime full of awards, iconic moments, and encounters with legends across show business, Warwick usually carried herself with calm confidence. But when she spoke about Sinatra, something changed. There was a softness in her voice, a rare moment where she let people see a vulnerable side she rarely showed. She admitted something nobody expected, revealing just how much he meant to her. "He was the only one who could do that to me," she confessed, her voice holding decades of memories and emotion. For someone as polished and poised as Dionne Warwick, Sinatra wasn't just another star. He had an impact that reached deeper than most people realized. Frank Sinatra represented pure confidence, the type of presence that didn't need to shout to be felt. His voice could shift the mood of a room, and his charm had its own rhythm. Warwick often talked about how she admired the way he delivered a song, not just with skill, but with a raw emotion that made every lyric feel real. When she listened to Frank, she felt the truth in every line, and that connection stayed with her. She said that his ability to live inside a lyric was something she studied and truly appreciated, and coming from Warwick, a singer celebrated for her own emotional clarity, that kind of praise hit different. It showed how deeply Sinatra affected her artistry. She remembered their paths crossing during the golden era of American music, when both of them were performing at their peak. They shared stages, private events, and circles filled with industry icons. Even in that elite world, where stars were everywhere, Sinatra still stood out. Warwick said he had this commanding presence without ever needing to raise his voice, a trait that impressed her again and again. She described moments where Sinatra walked into a room and everything subtly shifted, people straightened up, conversations softened, and all eyes naturally moved toward him. It wasn't forced. It was something he carried effortlessly. For Warwick, who had met countless legends, there was no one else who gave her that same reaction. Even after a lifetime on stage, surrounded by greatness, Dionne Warwick made it clear. Frank Sinatra held a place in her heart and her memory that nobody else ever reached. Warwick explained that Sinatra didn't just lift her musically, he lifted her spirit in ways she never expected. He shared real guidance, especially about surviving the pressure that comes with fame. She remembered one moment clearly when he told her, "Don't let them put you in a box, baby. You sing what you feel, and the people will feel it too." Those words hit her so deeply that she carried them through her entire career. And that simple message helped her break through every boundary, shifting from gospel roots to pop hits, moving into soulful ballads, and taking on bold collaborations that nobody saw coming. To Warwick, Sinatra's support wasn't just helpful for her career, it was something much more personal. "He believed in me in a way that very few did," she reflected with a soft honesty that showed just how much his faith meant to her. What truly set Sinatra apart in Warwick's eyes was his ability to connect with her beyond the music itself. He had this rare talent for making her feel genuinely seen, even in rooms packed with celebrities and flashing cameras. "I could be in a room full of people, and if Frank was there, he'd find a way to let me know I mattered," she revealed, her voice carrying both gratitude and nostalgia. For a woman who faced public pressure, nonstop work, and the heavy expectations placed on big-name performers, that kind of acknowledgement hit deep, deeper than she ever explained before. "He was the only one who could make me feel that way," she admitted before pausing, then adding, "and I will never forget it." That honesty showed how rare and meaningful their connection truly was. Looking back on her decades-long career, Warwick didn't hesitate to call Sinatra one of the major figures who shaped her path. She worked with giants like Burt Bacharach, Hal David, Stevie Wonder, and many others, but Sinatra held a different place in her heart. "Frank was larger than life, but he never made me feel small," she said, expressing how he pushed her to rise higher and bring her full power to every stage, every lyric, every night she performed. And now, as Dionne Warwick reflects at 84, Her confession about Sinatra sounds like both a tribute and a rare glimpse into a woman who has spent her whole life sharing music with the world. Her words show a truth many people forget. Even legends have people they look up to. Even strong voices can be humbled by someone else's greatness. To Warwick, Sinatra wasn't just another star. He was someone who touched her spirit in a way she never forgot. Her confession revealed not only her admiration for him, but also a timeless truth about music itself. At its best, music is about connection, the kind of connection that stays with you long after the last note disappears into the air. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button if you felt something real, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories.